So I want to talk about my journey so far before transitioning to live tomorrow. So my journey so far has started in October last year, 2019, and that's where I joined a club in England, a stock training club. And I didn't know anything about the market, exchanges, or how orders worked, or literally nothing. I was never in the world of the stocks at all. So I then started to learn about graphs and how to identify trends. But I always had this desire to make around 500 or a couple of $100 a day if I wanted to. And I couldn't do that with swing trading or investing. It's not, you have to wait a long time and you have to put in quite some capital to actually make that work. So my journey continued, and then I left that club after having some investment profit. It worked, and I'm still doing it. It actually works, but it's slow compared to what I had in mind. So I then continued and got in touch with Day Trade the World, which allowed me to practice a lot in day trading. And day trading allows you to make a lot of money, right, per day. So that gave me the opportunity um, for making those hundreds a day that I had in mind. And I started in January in 2020 this year. And I first started looking at stocks, and although stocks allow you to do that, you have to have a scanner at first that scans for all the stocks and find out what they are doing if they are perfect for you to trade. So I did come up with a pattern that when the stock went down real quick, it came up like real quick as well. And I programmed that in the scanner and I had some minor success in demo, but it was not really consistent, so to speak. Also, the scanner popped up like boom, boom, boom with different stocks when the market opened, and then I had to choose which one I wanted. Then I had to understand if there was news or not, and all those steps involves like um, too much work when you have to do it on a daily basis. At least in my opinion, it's not a relaxed way of um, joining the markets, right, to make money. So I've practiced a lot, like 2 months at least, in stocks, but it was still you had to know the news, you had to know the how the you had to know quite some fundamentals about the company, not really for day trading, but you can't do totally without. So it's like a mixture of do you have news for this company today and well, do you look for stocks beforehand that gapped up during the pre-market session, for example? But is that a reliable way to say, well, during the real-time session when the market is open, does it actually allow you to trade the stocks? Like, do they go up? Do they form a certain pattern? And you feel like you're missing out a lot because then your scanner pops up again and says, boom, here's another stock you can trade. So you need to make decisions and choices as you go. So then I found out about futures and I got a demonstration from somebody of that club and he showed me the oil futures. So when it moved one tick, it was $10. And I was like, oh, this is interesting because this allows you to make a whole lot of money by buying one contract. And I asked, so support and resistance, is that still a thing then in futures? And he said, yeah, it's still a thing. It's not just gambling at all. Are some fundamentals to those markets as well. So I then got into the S&P and the Nasdaq. I really like the Nasdaq for some reason. I've spent so many months trying to make the Nasdaq work. And after 4 or 5 months, I still didn't get it to work. And then I got frustrated and I knew this, I need to crack the code somehow. There is a possibility to make this work, right? People do it. So why couldn't I do it? So then I had some not minor success, I had really good days in the futures as well. I tried the DAX as well from German index. That worked quite well, but it's also, you lose a lot of money when you're not doing it right, right? So the risk was pretty high. So Nasdaq, I learned a lot by watching the Nasdaq. I still use the Nasdaq actually as an indicator for the S&P 500. I figured out some patterns just by screen time, and this was during the Corona crisis when it started, right? So it was like boom, it went down, and 5 minutes later, boom, it went up, and it just kept going all the time. So I learned a lot there, right? What the patterns of the Nasdaq are, how it behaves when it starts to move. You kind of feel when, okay, this wants to go down and wants to go fast. But when does it start, right? When does it actually make the move that you anticipate? So I kind of got a feeling for the market, but I still couldn't make it work consistently. So that's when I Googled, because I knew by now I'm gonna focus on the futures, right? I was still between stocks and futures that, like, maybe I can combine those. Look at the futures and see what the market does on a stock level, right? Per company. But still, I still couldn't make it work. So then I decided, okay, I'm gonna solely focus on futures. I'm gonna make this work. I do not have to look at the news per company, which is really what I like, right? Why would you have to go over all those news messages and fundamentals and what's going on internally, and it's too much per day, right? The futures, however, allowed you to ride the global market news, like a corona crisis influenced the futures, right? And it's not hard to pick up on global news. Everybody is talking about it. So it scratches a lot of work right from the beginning. And then I figured out, okay, there are certain, why does the future market jump within a second from this level to bam, this level? What happens there? So there was a news release. Okay, there was a news release. So I combined that in. And all those tiny bits, wow, the market closed. 10 minutes before the market closes, the market goes, wow, what's going on? The imbalance messages from the New York Stock Exchange are being sent out. And computers respond to that. And people close their positions at the end. And people try to make money in the casino in the last 10 minutes, right? So it's very fascinating to see. And when you're during the day, more and more, when you have screen time during the day, you start to see patterns. And they're different in the morning compared to the evening. And the picture becomes complete after you've looked at it for long enough, right? So now it's now July, right? July 12. Tomorrow I plan to go live with the micros. And the reason I'm planning to is because I've had a lot of practice in demo, and the last couple of weeks after I joined Trade Pro Academy, this is not a commercial, this is just how it went for me. They introduced me to levels, which I draw on this channel every morning, and these levels, like, they were spot on. I drew them on the Nasdaq, and it was to the tick that they stopped and reversed to the other side, and I was like, whoa, this is mind-boggling. Why is this happening? Am I onto something? Is this how I'm gonna start cracking the code? And I got enthusiastic, but I was still focusing on the Nasdaq because I've practiced it so many months, and they weren't trading the Nasdaq, and I was like, why are you not trading the Nasdaq? What's going on here? And then I tried to implement some of their money making strategies, like the money management strategies, and I couldn't make it work on the Nasdaq, even though my levels are right. It's like it goes so fast. It's like, oh, you take a 7 tick stop. Yeah, no, it's not gonna happen. because a 7-tick stop means you're up 8 ticks and your stop gets hit. So it reverses like 15 ticks, 14 ticks, like a ridiculous amount of speed. And then you're like, whoa, you can't do with it. You can't deal with this. You need to have larger stops. And they confirmed that. It's not easy to trade it. Is it possible? Of course it's possible. But it's different, right? I didn't have the capital. It doesn't feel safe enough to me to actually expose myself with my own money to the markets. So, okay, I give in, S&P. I started to see that the S&P moves when the Nasdaq moves. So I could finally combine my knowledge of the Nasdaq that I gained over the months and combine it with the S&P 500. And S&P is like, it's slower, but you can money management really well. And if you want to make more money, you just buy an extra contract. There's so much volume on one tick. One tick level is like, one price level has like hundreds of contracts that are being traded. Sometimes 1,000 on the sell and the bid size. It's like, okay, you can scale up without changing your trading method. You can't do that really on the Nasdaq, because the Nasdaq has like maybe 4, 5 or 6 contracts available per tick. So that's also the reason why it moves so fast, right? So yeah, the S&P allows me to use the knowledge I gained from the Nasdaq market, Nasdaq futures, and I can combine it now with oil, for example. So those 3 markets are the ones I look at, and then of course you got the correlations between the Russell and the Dow, and then you get your risk off things like the bonds and gold and silver, and all the combination of everything is, for me, starting to crack the code. So I got green in demo the last couple of weeks, and then people started suggesting you should go to the micros. And I was like, yeah, but I don't really want to. I'm in a training mentoring course right now. I'm gonna do it anyway. And then 4 people over the course of 2 days, they said like, you should trade the micro. And it wasn't like not a group talk or something. It was just 4 separate people. And I was like, okay, this is probably the moment then, because this didn't happen before at all. So it's one of those signs that I'm just gonna follow. So here's what I expect from it tomorrow. It's probably gonna be different, right? I took demo trading very seriously, because I knew when I can make it work in demo in a normal way, right? Buying 2 contracts, 3 contracts, 4 at most. Start with 1. I was green with 1. I was like, this is interesting. This never happened before. It was consistent, right? Day after day. And I was like, okay, this is the good thing, right? But you do not want to stay in demo too long. I'm now comfortable with it, and now I get uncomfortable going to the micros. And I mean, maybe you're watching like, micros, what's the big deal, right? But to me, it means I'm never gonna go back to demo. And that thought in itself is like, that's different, right? It's that big of a deal. I don't want to go back to demo. That's the station has passed right now. We're gonna go live with small money, but real money, right? And then the training continues over there. And then we're gonna see, is my heart rate gonna be stable? How are my emotions? How do I cope with losses? Are there losses compared to how much I win? Am I green overall in the week? That's what this is all about, right? And I consistently grow your way to the minis. So, well, what I expect, I'm just gonna continue what I learned in demo, and I'm just gonna record everything I do. So I gotta kind of have a diary of what I am gonna do myself. I'm gonna review everything I do. I'm just gonna continue with what I've learned so far. I know I'm good enough to make this work. I practice long enough to make this work, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. So, I'm gonna transition to live. I've been practicing for like more than well, about half a year right now. I didn't know anything about the stock market before October last year, so that's how fast it can go, right? I'm getting towards my goal, which is that couple of $100 a day if I want to, and I can increase that by getting more size and just focus on the process and the movements will come, right? When the market sells off like a lunatic, why not be part of it, right? Just let it flow, manage your stop. It's gonna be doable. I'm just gonna go for it. All right, so this is about 15 minutes. Thank you for watching. Tomorrow it's gonna be a big day. I'm gonna just stick to what I've been doing all the time. It's gonna work. So see you tomorrow.